Blue Roots Project, harnessing the power of storytelling to envision the future of water. The United Nations predicts that nearly half of the world's population will be living in areas of high water stress by 2030 if current climate change predictions persist. In addition, water scarcity in some arid and semi-arid places will displace between 24 million and 700 million people. This is what we want to avoid, and to do that, Circle of Blue has partnered with the EMDD team to design a campaign that can inform the public of this possible future. This partnership began in 2016 and focused on researching the problem and developing a possible solution from that research. By soliciting feedback from their target audience of 18 to 24-year-olds, the original EMDD team developed the Blue Roots Project, which eventually evolved into the #MyWaterStory campaign. This campaign engaged the target audience in a dialogue about the value of water before, during, and after World Water Day on March 22, 2017, and became a focal point at the first watershed event held at the Vatican. Their campaign took the 6 water themes from Watershed and created 5 prompts each, which meant 30 total calls to action. Ultimately, 130 countries contributed to the #MyWaterStory campaign. The project was successful in generating 7,100 website views, 48% of which were in the target audience, and over 15,000 people participated in the Facebook Live conference stream. Building off of this framework, when approaching the next part of this project, we presented ourselves with this question: how might we connect new and old #MyWaterStory submissions to Circle of Blue content through a transmedia experience? We already have over 500 #MyWaterStory submissions from the previous project, and we needed to use this wealth of stories to inform the future of our project. These stories included art, stories of activism, and personal memories. The combination of materials and our new task led us to the creation of the Blue Roots Project 2.0, which will be informed by the previous work while also considering Circle of Blue's desire to continue the campaign in a more focused way. While the previous team had curated over 500 #MyWaterStories, they did not directly connect these submissions back to Circle of Blue's content and mission to inform users of the issues around the world water and energy crisis. We collected and sorted the #MyWaterStories into an affinity diagram that highlights 5 main themes: climate, people, arts, information, and communication. The results showed that approximately half of submissions fell into arts, information, and communication, while the remaining half fell under climate and people. Keeping in mind the 6 ruling themes of the Circle of Blue news website: water and climate, energy, quality, food, management, and policy, we determined that the half of the submissions that fell under climate and people most directly connected back to Circle of Blue content, while the other categories better reflected the previous #MyWaterStory prompt categories. After making this connection, we set out to create more focused prompts based on Circle of Blue's 4 main categories: climate, energy, quality, and food, determining that water and management and water and policy were umbrellaed under the other categories. To create a more direct interaction between future #MyWaterStory submissions and Circle of Blue content. These new prompts connect #MyWaterStory submissions with Circle of Blue more intentionally, asking submitters to share stories like the water and climate question. Has climate change related to the water crisis affected any of your daily habits, chores, or recreational activities? This is more specific than the previous, more general prompts that were used, such as submit a personal story about how water issues affect where you live. Similarly, from water and quality, there is the question: do you live in areas of water damage or water danger? If so, share your experience with it. Rather than the previous prompt, post a photo of your most memorable moment with water. Ultimately, we are making the prompts more specific in what they are asking the audience. But simply having these new prompts alone fails to meet the full extent of our project's goal. It merely focuses our future content curation. It does not address the need for a direct connection between the #MyWaterStory submissions and Circle of Blue's content, nor does it determine how a transmedia experience can be built from these submissions. Our research from the #MyWaterStory submissions, when paired with the previous team's research,
told us several key findings that were important to consider when deciding how to approach this problem.
A design challenge should give 18 to 24-year-olds the opportunity to share ideas and create solutions so that they can recognize the impact of their contributions. I really want to see an active and engaged community that isn't negative, said a pilot test participant. Through brainstorming and sessions with the project team and audience members, we know that a few elements will be important to include in the experience, such as art, personal stories, the science of water, futuristic scenarios, and collaboration. These were the elements that appeared repeatedly throughout the brainstorm and were all feasible for the project team to tackle as part of the experience.
From these key findings, we unearthed our new problem statement. People in countries that do not suffer highly visible effects of the world water crisis are unaware of how fragile their realities are and the struggles faced globally.
When ideating a solution, we kept the following design elements in mind. The project must connect Circle of Blue content directly, connect new and old #MyWaterStories, provide users a reason to care about the world water crisis and show why it is important, be easy to understand and use, be well organized to show all #MyWaterStory themes, incorporate real life situations using the #MyWaterStories, connect to something the participant does in their own lives, like showering, cooking, swimming, incorporate the environment the people live in, so not to ask a group to imagine not living near the ocean if they already don't, and it must inform the audience of the effects of their choices without telling them what to do.
And the project exists under the constraints that it cannot mistreat or misrepresent the #MyWaterStory submitters or submissions, lean too heavily on calls to action, be accusatory or blame the audience for not doing enough, or pollute the environment or cause harm. Through these guidelines and restraints, we have devised a plan for the future of the project.
Currently, the #MyWaterStory campaign is inviting users to share their water stories with one another, but there is no incentive to do so, and we are not directly educating others on the world water crisis. We need to give the audience a reason to care and show them why their actions towards water conservation matter. This can most successfully be done by showing users the following: what the world looks like for those who suffer from the world water crisis, how two users of the same age, gender, and profession in opposite parts of the world complete similar tasks with or without water, and how a user's day-to-day actions can affect the world water crisis both positively and negatively.
Which leads to our solution, an interactive digital map and accompanying social media campaign. This is an overview of the visual map. The website would open 4 main sections which correlate with the 4 dominant Circle of Blue headers:
Climate, energy, quality, and food, where users can select the area of their choosing, such as water and climate. This would take them to a screen that will show them the more focused prompts associated with that header, based on the subcategories determined from our affinity diagram.
Some of the prompts would be action-based, asking people to create things in the physical world and upload their innovations through image or video. Prompts might include: share a video or image of a potential way to harness the power of water to create energy, or record and document all the water you consume or use throughout a day. This includes washing hands, using the bathroom, showering, food preparation, drinking, etc. Users will answer the prompt, select the media to upload, and choose predetermined tags to situate their submission. When they submit their completed post, they will receive a thank you message indicating their submission was received. All submissions will be reviewed before they are published. In the meantime, they will be directed towards the map, where they can use its various features to navigate the site, such as choosing one of the color-coded dots that, when clicked, will reveal Circle of Blue articles alongside related #MyWaterStories that, when selected, will reveal a brief list of helpful tips relevant to the story they submitted.
This will give the reader an idea of how different actions and situations can affect people in different environments, even between different countries. The main purpose of the tips is to inform the audience on what affects the water situation. For example, a list might include: harmful chemicals like arsenic and beryllium in the water supply cause acute and chronic toxicity. The UN says that a human being needs 50 liters of water per day, but many people in Africa must get along with only 20 liters, which equates to a 15-minute shower. These examples would directly relate how the person acts to the effects of their actions. Since we only want to inform and not actually ask for change, it doesn't need to be worded as a call to action so much as be aware of how your habits affect the world so you can make informed choices.
If they return to the full map, they can also use the menu to filter stories and sort through the tags on the site. Once they have browsed the options and selected a tag, content from both #MyWaterStories and Circle of Blue articles that contain the tag will appear. They can then continue to navigate the stories and information.
A diagram of the process shows step 1, an individual visits the website. 2, they select a prompt to frame their #MyWaterStory. 3, the individual submits the response to the prompt they have selected. And 4, upon submission, the individual is redirected to the #MyWaterStory interactive map. From the map, the individual can read over #MyWaterStory submissions, filter by category, read Circle of Blue content, and become educated on the world water crisis. Our Project WET partnership would consist of 2 phases, the first of which would be creating prompts for teachers to use in their classroom, asking students to create art or media surrounding one of Circle of Blue's 6 main water categories. These prompts would specifically ask for art or media that show the importance of water in children's lives and would be integrated into the class topic, for example, history, science, social studies. The submissions would then be integrated into the interactive map like the other #MyWaterStory prompts. For example, a prompt for a history class regarding water inequality might ask kids to create something that shows the problems people and wildlife would face when building a new civilization if the water source was contaminated versus clean. The kids might create a drawing, a sculpture, or a simple video or presentation responding to this prompt. For a more active learning experience, we will create interactive activities or demonstrations inspired by the #MyWaterStories in 6 Circle of Blue categories that can be used in the classroom. For example, kids might travel through an obstacle course that simulates how difficult it is in other countries to collect enough water for laundry.
There might be an in-class demonstration of how water becomes contaminated and how difficult it is to filter and clean. And they may take a field trip to a water treatment facility. The prompts will be integrated into the lesson plan so kids can learn about water in the context of their classes. They will also be challenged to reflect on their own experiences with the activities and share them with others by creating art or media. These can then be collected and posted in our interactive map.
For example, regarding water inequality, kids might watch a demonstration about how oil interacts with water and then try to clean oily water from a sample of fur to see how difficult it is. In order to realize this project, we have created a timeline for our tasks. Our first year objectives include gathering user-generated content in various forms through the new #MyWaterStory prompts, gathering water and energy conservation tips to provide the website's audience, connecting existing #MyWaterStory submissions and Circle of Blue articles with new #MyWaterStory submissions through a generated list of tags, designing and building a website prototype that is populated by all current #MyWaterStory submissions and Circle of Blue articles, and launching the social media campaign that collects new #MyWaterStory submissions. All of this will work to bring us closer to fulfilling our project goal. The Blue Roots Project 2.0 will continue to maintain the social media platforms created by the original BRP team, along with the new platforms we might create, and use these outlets to promote the next steps in our team's journey with Circle of Blue. Thank you.